Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I am here with Peter Marchetti, our City Council President and at-large City Councilor. Peter, thank you for taking the time to do this today.
Thank you for having me.
Especially since today is your birthday, so happy birthday.
Thank you.
And
we could have done this on Friday, but we had technical difficulties, so.
We tried, and now you get to spend your birthday part of it with me.
There we go.
So I just wanted to touch on a few things, current things with you. And I'm going to start with the last city council meeting. So the last city council meeting was a budget hearing, and it got pretty interesting, kind of centered around our Ward 2 city councilor, Charles Kronick. If you haven't seen it, you have to see it. I mean, I can't get into every topic, but it got heated. And at a point, you eventually stepped in and said, that's enough. I can't listen to any more of this. And you shut him down. What happened from your point of view?
Well, so I think there was a couple things going on. One, I felt that we were continually asking the same question and getting the same answer, which is something that, I don't mind if you ask a question once and you didn't get the answer that you wanted, so you try to rephrase the question so you can see if you could get a different answer. But your third, fourth, fifth try, enough is enough. You've asked a question, they've answered the question. You may like it or not like it, agree with it or disagree with it, but it's done. Move on. And I think one of the things that folks try to figure out is that we all have to come to some kind of consensus. And I don't really believe that's the case. If you're not in favor of something, vote no. But I think my other piece is I was getting extremely uncomfortable when we're at a budget hearing. And, from my perspective, a budget hearing is just that. Departments are already created, positions have already been created, and you're voting on a budget. And some of the questioning and some of the topics kind of, to me, we're going to, was the department head qualified? Which we just appointed the person, I think in March, maybe February. And so those were the times for those questions. And I do believe that counselor asked those questions at that hearing. And
now that was on the chief diversity officer.
Correct. And I just think that, he made us uncomfortable then with his line of questioning. And in my opinion, when we were debating his qualifications, and then when we were also debating whether or not we even needed such a department, again, that debate's sailed, right? We have that department. You agree with it or you don't agree with it. A prior city council voted it in. A prior city council approved a budget for it last year. So if you want to make reductions and we have the right to make reductions, then make them. We don't necessarily have the right to eliminate positions that are in code. We don't necessarily have the right to eliminate positions that are by contract. But I think we got to a part where, I'm totally against this department, fine, then vote no against its budget. And we were just grasping at straws.
I mean, ultimately, even with all the discussion that he was getting into, it's just a yes or no on that, right? As far as,
yeah, I mean,
are you going to vote in favor of this or not?
Right. I mean, so you could make reductions, which I think he tried. And at one point in time, I tried to use some humor because I could feel the tension rising, and it's like, well, I'll give you 2. No, I'll give you 3. And instead of telling me how much he wanted to reduce it by, he was telling me how much was going to be in the line item. And I think I did a flip thing of, do I hear 4? Right. I mean, I'll give you 2, I'll give you 3. And I went, do I hear 4? I didn't know where we were going and trying to do that. And so for me, to just be completely transparent, I was very frustrated at that point in time because Helen Moon and Earl Persa put in a petition years ago looking for new council orientation because everybody thinks it's so easy to be in the city council. It's one thing to watch, it's another to learn the ins and outs and all the different things. And so I started that from their petition, doing new council orientation. We did that in December, and we offered all the new councilors budget training, which they all agreed to want to do. In order not to violate open meeting law, we would be looking at, this current year budget, but the process is the same. right? This is what you get. This is what, and even though Councilor Kronick agreed to come to training, he never showed. And to this day, I don't know why he didn't show. So, I don't have much sympathy for someone when you've offered them training and they don't want to take it or they don't show up. And, from my perspective, if something had come up and he said, hey, sorry, something came up, can we reschedule? That would have been fine. But to this day, I don't even know if he knows he missed the budget training that he agreed to go to.
If he did reach out to you, would you be willing to work with him on certain issues?
Absolutely. I mean, when I deal one-on-one with a counselor, I think there's two things that have to happen. One, I don't have to agree with them on their issues or their stances, but I think my job as city council president is to make sure that we have a smooth running business-like meeting. One of my biggest worries is that you have company ABC in town looking to relocate to Pittsfield that is unbeknownst to most people. And they're sitting in a hotel room watching channel 1303 PCTV and watching this, and they go, what a circus. We're going to come to Pittsfield. This is what their leadership looks like. So I worry about what our meetings look like. I don't care if we agree. I don't care if every vote's 11-0. I don't care if every vote's 6-5. But I care that we look like we're professional. I care that we look like we're doing the business of the city. And I care that we seem to be respectful. And, that kind of gets lost when the frustration levels continue to rise because, we're just going around in circles.
Well, I think at times, for sure, during the pandemic, with the previous city council, it was crazy. I mean, that was, it was a crazy time. And looking back at it, you can see that. I even have went back and looked at, it's weird watching videos of myself, but I've went back and watched some of them, and some of the things I was harping on in the middle of that pandemic. I think everybody was really fired up. And after all that, and some of the scary stuff we're seeing with the economy right now, it's really got to be the city council has to get to work now more than ever. I know on the ARPA funds, that's a different issue. And again, like you said, I mean, as far as people disagreeing, of course, if everyone agreed, I'd be worried. But right. I think the etiquette has got to be there. And if you're presenting something, you got to know where you're going. You can't just, because people won't watch that at home. I'm probably one of the few people that will sit there for 4.5 hours. Even my dog is kind of going, let's get out of here.
Well, I mean, I think that people actually pay attention to city council meetings more than we think. Or they're paying attention to
if
Facebook.
The people that showed up in the beginning to speak, if they stayed for the entire meeting, that would make a difference. I hate that the chambers just vacates.
Well, I think it's interesting when that happens. I think the other piece, and I learned this, over the last couple meetings, is that I think most of the people that come to speak at open mic come because someone told them to, because it's their right to, and they don't necessarily understand the process. And so, open mic is a resident opportunity to address the council for 3 minutes on any issue. And I think that they kind of do that. And that just kind of, doesn't make sense to me because they expect immediate.
Well, I can see sometimes and then we'll move on to another topic, but I can see sometimes with some people, you can tell they get up there, they've got their phone out or they've got it written down. I mean, they copied articles, but I see the nerves on them too. It took a lot of courage to them. That's a huge, I see their head shaking, and they're trying to stumble through it. And sometimes I don't even know what people are saying. They're just reading something and I'm lost.
Well, they're passionate about an issue.
I think they got to get past that, come back, be more direct, more conversational, and use that 3 minutes wisely. Anybody can read a New York Times article to somebody, or a quote from a medical journal, or I think that those 3 minutes are there to talk to your counselors, to address, hey, I got an issue with this, this, or this.
But I think many of them think we can respond.
No, I think it's just an opportunity for them to have the floor of the council.
But they think that we have to respond, especially when they're asking questions and then we don't answer them. It kind of looks like we're blowing them off, and they don't really understand the purpose of open mic. And you know, I've gotten to a lot of discussion and arguments that I hate open mic, because it's not an opportunity for us to engage in dialogue, and then B, as you said, once they speak, they clear council chambers. So, you know, I asked myself the question, how serious are you about this issue when you talk and leave, talk and leave, talk and leave? Especially if the item is on the agenda. I mean, it's one thing.
Which is why you should be there. If otherwise.
I mean, if you're coming to talk about the Springside Park and the pump track, you know, that's not on our agenda.
Well, this is where we need a community center, where we need public forums, but this is the only shot that people have. So when you have an incident like that shooting, people tend to go to the city council now right away, because there's no other place for them to go. We don't, you know, that's a whole nother conversation for me. I won't drag you into that now. So, all right, I want to move on to the 4th of July parade, because we've got a couple minutes left here. So the 4th of July parade, we've heard this is going to be a big extravaganza this year. You are the president of the 4th of July Parade Committee, right?
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about what's going to happen this year?
Well, we are still in the midst of planning. One of the things that we're running up against, especially for musical units, is that some are not performing. Some are not coming out with COVID. I can tell you that we have just finalized one of the mummers bands coming to Pittsfield for the parade, and they'll be here on Sunday night to do a concert. So there'll be a concert on Sunday night and a parade on Monday. You know, at this stage of the game, we're doing our scrambling of trying to get the units, because we're about 2/3 of what a normal size parade would look like. And we usually have our first entry close date at May 15th, and then we back it to June 1st, and then we back it for all the last minute stragglers until the book goes to print, maybe mid-June. But right now it's, you know, in planning stages. I think we've got some neat things coming, some different things coming.
Have there been some delays with circumstances in the world right now, as far as it being as big as you guys had hoped it would be this year?
I'm running into some problems. I don't think we're going to get what we wanted to. I think we've got some aspects of what we wanted. You know, I wanted a lot more music, which is not happening. I wanted a mummers band, which I know people of Pittsfield love when they're here. So we've made some things happening.
It's Pittsfield Tonight float. That would be a good one.
Well, you can create one. I'll send you an application when we're done. I'll send you an app when you're done.
All right. Me on my phone waving to everybody.
Actually, just go to pittsfieldparade.com. You're all good to go. You can apply right online.
All right.
So no, I mean, I think we'll be okay. I don't think it's going to be out of this world, but I mean, I sense that it's not, A, I don't think it's going to be terrible, and B, I think people are just going to be happy that it's back. There are some new things. You know, we had a balloon customized with our new logo. We've got some special guests coming that I'm not ready to share because I want to be able to do the hype, but we'll make sure you're included on our press release when we're ready to roll.
All
so
right.
that you can also talk about it. So we've got about 6 more weeks of planning.
Okay. Well, you'll have to keep me posted on that and I'll bug you. And yeah, let me know where we stand on that, because I think a lot of people are looking for something like that to get out and finally, and it's a scary time. So one last quick question, we got a minute left, that I did want to throw at you is, we're looking at the economy. We're looking at some scary things, fuel costs, recession is being thrown around a lot, possibility of the Feds doing 100 basis points, which is a full percentage this week. That's in the talks right now. Is all that changing anything for you, looking at these budget hearings and what you guys, the decisions you're going to have to make here?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that we need to be cognizant of what our increases are going to be. And I sometimes worry, like gas prices going up the way that they are. Who would have expected that last year during budget hearings? And so, I think the unknowns that are there, I just don't know that it's there. And I just think we need to keep an eye. I said before, and I'll say it again. Now, in my opinion, now's not the time to backtrack. It's to keep pushing forward. I worried about coming out of COVID. I worried about what 22 is going to be. I worry about what 23 is going to be, but I don't think we can hold back. I think we got to keep pushing forward.
Okay. Well, I think the next mayor, for sure, whoever it will be, if it's even the incumbent, if she does run again, I think the next mayor of Pittsfield will be in the middle of a not such a great state in the economy. So that's something to consider for everyone. But Peter, thank you so much for your time today. Again, happy birthday. I really appreciate you giving me a little bit of your time to do this.
No problem. Thank you.
And I will be in touch very soon, and you'll have to let me know where we're at with the parade.
Okay, will do.
All right. Have a great
Thanks.
one, Peter.
You too.
Bye-bye.